of all matches, everybody. Kenny Omega finally beat Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley, undefeated in his AEW career, lost tonight to Kenny Omega, and it was not in a way that we thought was going to happen. Kenny is well known for his in-ring prowess. He actually made it a sort of a gentleman's agreement last week, and JR kind of called him on it about this going to be a clean wrestling match, and then we see him stoop to the microphone shot to Moxley's head at the end there, busting him open. What were your thoughts on this as the Kenny Omega mark of our team here, SPD? I'm going to let you gush and enjoy your moment before I chime in. Tell me about it. What are you thinking, bud? How you feeling about your Kenny Omega winning the championship?
I'm sweeping my way. I'm cleaning my hotel room really good tonight with that broom. But I'm ecstatic. I'm very happy. Every week building up to this, and even months before this, I was ready for Kenny to take the title. The way he took it, I was definitely shocked by, and I have a lot of questions of wondering like what's going to happen next. And the match itself, I thought was a great build. It wasn't rushed at all. And you're talking about the whole gentleman's agreement and how he was doing that. And I was kind of surprised when they kept going to picture in picture and how they were like still battling in the crowd. And because of that gentleman's agreement, and then the shenanigans, and clearly you can see in this photo that Kenny really did bash his eye. And so at first I didn't think there was a mark or not. I thought it was like pretty legit. And then when I saw the TNA Callus, or what is, I'm not even sure his name, sorry, come down there and then kind of do some piss poor acting, I'm like, okay, this is a shoot a little bit, but it is, but it isn't. But look at his eye. I mean, clearly he got some kind of stinger above his eye.
Well, this match was incredibly physical. We don't know when that may have happened. Honestly, to me, when Moxley set the chairs down and those two started exchanging those slaps and then eventual punches. I don't know about you, man, but that was legitimately like, wow. That was one of those moments that
I know.
We are accustomed to seeing such entertaining, high stakes, energetic stuff out of wrestling these days. Pro wrestling, you see people doing jumps off of ladders. You see people doing these unbelievable acrobatics. We talk about Ray Phoenix all the time on this show, right? But sometimes it's just the impact of a slap in the face or a punch to the jaw goes so much further than any sort of acrobatic move that you could ever put out there. This was one of those matches where you just when those two were going, just sitting there slugging it out, it was pretty brutal to watch, wasn't it?
Oh, it was definitely brutal. And I was just like, it almost feels like you're fighting with your best friend, where you're just like, it starts off playing games, then one guy hits you a little bit harder, and then another harder, and then a harder, and then harder and harder, and then it like gets really out of hand quick. And so that's how I felt the way it was. And I had no idea what they're planning on doing with those chairs, but it was a pivotal moment in the match. It kind of slowed it down and then sped it right back up. And then shortly after that, Kenny's laying down those V triggers after V triggers, and those are brutal alone. So not only are you getting these slaps to the face, you're getting the punches to the face, and you're getting these V triggers. And then, Kenny finally got, swinging momentum there. It was a well wrestled match. It had a good pace. Yeah. It definitely had the huge match build, huge match feel to it. It wasn't rushed at all. And the Road to episode that AEW put out on Monday, building up to this match, just was getting me so excited. Like I almost couldn't sleep because I was just so excited for this match because of the build. And like you talked about last week, Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley 3. We're ready for it now. But
I know, right?
We're okay with the build. It will come and it will be huge. And it's not going to be what it was tonight. It's going to be something totally unexpected. I'm definitely happy for Kenny Omega. And this is what's, I was happy with Moxley being the champ, and he was a great fighting champ. He was definitely reliable, but this just sets the stage for a lot of fresh things to happen with both guys. And, I'm excited for it. The match and everything was an elite. I'm happy for Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley. It doesn't really do, it's a notch on his record as a loss. Yes. But Kenny cheating to get that win essentially, and then to leave Moxley bloodied in the ring, just staring at the camera until you fade to black. Like, that's a compelling story in and amongst itself. And then like what we're going to see on Tuesday, we're like Tuesday, and then this whole tie in with Impact, there's a lot of head scratching things to be answered, and it leaves you really itching for more already.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you nailed a lot of different points there, SPD. One of the things that I will say is, last week I was already saying, man, I already want to see Kenny Omega and Moxley 3. And
Yeah.
part of the reason why I was saying that is, and this was something that you kept hammering on, is, man, it feels like this winter is coming, this match between Omega and Moxley. We could have months of build of that, right? Like,
Yeah.
the character work that these two guys do. When we talk about Jon Moxley, his ability to cut a promo, his ability to draw you in on his character. Tonight was another example. Not necessarily the promo work, but I felt for Moxley during this match.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys out there in AEW Nation, but there were moments when you really like Omega was laying in some of those chops tonight.
Yes,
and
he was.
There were moments when you really, and with the way that Moxley was selling the knee, Moxley did an incredible job. There were a lot of people buzzing about the storytelling in the match tonight. And I have to say, I know Kenny Omega is typically known for, putting on kind of more of a spot fest match. He worked really well with Moxley in this one. Their ability to convey a story tonight. And Kenny, after the match, like you talked about, running off with the belt, ending that match in a dubious fashion, and then kind of leaving us with this teaser of a pairing now with TNA, Impact Wrestling.
Right.
To have that tie-in, we've benefited so much as a fan base from AEW's willingness to be open to work with other companies. We know NWA being one of them, right? Now this is a great example. Impact Wrestling being another. We as wrestling fans are benefiting from that, right? And the more open and willing we approach the wrestling business, we recognize that there's so much talent out there. And I think that, like, this is an example, not to get on the soapbox, but we as fans sometimes we get caught up in this war. We get caught up in the NXT versus Dynamite war, AEW versus WWE war. It's not about that, guys. Like, for me, I love AEW because I love examples like we just saw tonight. They are open and willing to admit that there are other companies that do great things out there other than AEW.
Yeah.
And yes, they want to be great. They want to be a great company, and they want
are
to
a great company.
Great television for us. And they put on weekly a show that we love, but they want to work with other companies out there to help expose what they do well too. I think the healthier the wrestling business is, the better it is for all of us. So I think that maybe we should take a lesson learned from Tony and the leadership team at AEW, and maybe stop like battling each other so much on this stuff, and really start embracing what makes this great. To me, this was a match that I can't wait to see what happens on Tuesday night now. I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to tune into Impact. For me, there are a lot of companies that are on my weekly rotation. AEW is my number one, and it always will be. I love this company, but Thunder Rosa and Ricky Starks have certainly made me more aware of what's going on in NWA.
Yeah,
I think this is going to be an example of other companies benefiting from this relationship. That said,
I agree, man.
Yeah, right.
It helps everyone out. I mean, we're all at the end of, like I showed that graphic, being Orange Cassidy, we're all wrestling fans. If, as Excalibur says, give the people what they want, hug it out, man. I think it would have been an awesome move if Impact was on, let's say, a Monday or a Friday, where they could have really said F you, essentially, like kind of to the ratings that way. So it would have been a little bit more impactful if it was on that. But I'm definitely going to tune in on Tuesday to see what happens. Yeah. And just more eyes on any product is good for the business, man. I mean, we all want wrestling to succeed. Yes, we have our critiques, because as fans, we want the best for the product. I have critiques in many different levels, but it's not that I don't hate the product. We just want it to be better. And we as fans, want our voice to be heard. And I think we do get heard in some sense or another. Absolutely. Of pushing the product. I mean, we talked about, we're not the only ones that are rooting for the women's division to grow. I'm seeing all of our other interactions on social media. A lot of the other podcasts and a lot of the other fans online are in the same position. And it's 100%. Like, unless it's just the stars aligning at the right time, it seems like the higher ups and the division is listening to their fans about growing a women's division, which we'll talk about later. But as we digress back to this main event, Kenny is the new
I mean,
champ,
I
and
think
we're ready.
that I could just I could go on about this for a little bit, but to end that little mini segment of the show where we're talking about this collaboration, this mindset, this good business mindset that AEW is showing. This ties back also into Cody's open challenge where we got to see think about it, we get Eddie Kingston out of that, and can you imagine AEW without Eddie Kingston?
No.
So there's a lot to be said for that, and I think we here at Dynamite Download, we're really big about helping others climb while we climb.
Exactly.
I love encouraging other podcasters. Just because I want my podcast to be successful doesn't mean that I want someone else to fail.
Right, for sure. It's not a battle.
No, I love that, and I love the fact that, like you talked about, we as an AEW family seem to be overall pretty positive, and we do we're getting heard. If you are interacting with with the wrestlers on social media, be cognizant of that. They're hearing your voices, so be aware of what you say. Try to be positive. Try to build up the company that you love. And this is an example, right, SPD? I mean, you have been calling for the cleaner to be the world champion. I had you repeat this line a couple shows ago about how if AEW does not put the title on Kenny Omega, it will be the biggest mistake that the company has made in their short history. And they listened to your advice, my friend, and in incredible fashion, in a way that it's so hard to have a moment of the night.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But Kenny Omega winning and running off with that title, even on a show where we had a battle royal like that, even on a show where we had the Inner Circle threatening to potentially implode and be done forever, even on a show where we had, legitimately Sting, an icon that we all grew up watching, him coming back, somehow, some way, Kenny Omega managed to be the guy that's on all of our lips right now. I mean, the guy is just absolutely stealing the wrestling world right now, and I think this new gimmick, him leaning into the darker side of Kenny Omega, is something that really distinguishes him. I can't wait. This gets a clear-cut elite from me.
Yeah.
I thought that the story was really well executed. There was no doubt in my mind that these guys were going to deliver in the ring, right? We're talking about two of the best in the world, and that's not hyperbole. That is, you can rank it however you want. If you look at the body of work and what these guys are capable of doing, they are legitimately as good as it gets in the business right now. These are the type of guys that we will be talking about, just like people talk about the icons. We just had a lot of Undertaker appreciation come up, right? These are the type of guys that are going to be leaving that kind of legacy. And we can't state that in a way that is overshadowed by any other moment in the night. So I want to give these guys the praise for what they did tonight. The match delivered. And for me, that's one of the things that I want to highlight. When you have this kind of pressure put on you, pressure either makes diamonds or it bursts pipes. And, this could have been one of those moments where we could have hyped. We could think about how many times in our lives as wrestling fans where we've been so hyped for a match, so hyped for a show. We built it up in our heads so much, and then we come out disappointed. Yeah. I can tell you there were countless times as a kid where I walked out kind of bumming, this was not one of those matches, man. This was one of those matches that had the stakes where literally we were talking about on Twitter, this is the type of show that can change the path and the trajectory for AEW. If this show delivers in the ratings like we believe it should, this is the type of show that could really change things. And, to put the title on Kenny Omega, you were calling for it. It really signifies a new era of the company. I really do think that the ratings are going to show. They're going to reflect what we saw on social media and what we felt in our hearts watching the show, that this was a special night. And I think that it's going to be an incredible show. Hats off to these two guys. Honestly, the match was incredibly brutal. You showed earlier on in our recap. You see it right there. Top performer of the night.
We have to go out of order here because we're talking about Kenny Omega, and we both agree top performer by far of the night. Well deserved, pretty platinum, hand held high.
I gotta say, SPD, like I was texting you, and we were talking about it on social media. I was really, I mean, every week it feels like we struggle with top performer of the night. And going into the main event, I was prepared to say Sting. I even had a moment where really Powerhouse Hobbs, that guy was a monster. He did exactly what I was hoping he would do tonight. That dude put on a show. There were a lot of people that you could have, and we struggle with it every week.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's a good thing. But tonight, I feel like it's not a coincidence. This is a unanimous decision. When a guy beats Jon Moxley, you got to put respect on that guy's name. He's the guy who's beaten Eddie Kingston, beat MJF, beat Lance Archer, beat Brody Lee. The list goes on.
Jericho.
And on. Yeah, I mean, exactly. He is. Moxley has solidified himself as an icon and a pillar of AEW, and we have to give our respect for him as a champion and during a tough era too. But I think all of us are top performer of the night. All of us are so excited about Kenny Omega and this title reign that's coming up. I just the way his character is gone. I don't know about you guys. I love this about AEW. I love how they build the story naturally. The way that those two broke up after Kenny and Hangman broke up, we really saw the writing on the wall that the cleaner was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight was the coronation of the cleaner.
I love how you put that. Yeah.